Volkswagen has absolutely nailed this new concept. This is called the ID Everyone. Very interesting name for this concept. And looking at it, it definitely looks almost 100% production ready to me. I don't think we're going to see a lot of changes before this goes into production in 2027. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at this design and why I think this is such a genius move by Volkswagen to drop this specific EV. Even though the range is not that great, the power is not that great, but that is the key benefits, in my opinion, of this car. And also the design looks great. Looks like a very grown-up vehicle to me. So before we jump into Photoshop here, let's have a look at this article and see what this is all about from Car Scoops. So ID Everyone previews Volkswagen's cheapest EV, sized between the Up and the Polo. The electric Volkswagen concept for the masses comes with only 155 miles of range. So this is a city cruiser that you don't want to take on longer road trips probably, but still it's great for small European cities. That is where I see this car really shine. Volkswagen's entry is booming. This is Volkswagen's entry into the booming 20,000 euros EV market. I think 20,000 euros now is pretty much $20,000. The subcompact EV has a single 94 horsepower motor and an 82 miles per hour top speed. Fantastic numbers. Listen, we don't need every single EV to have quad motors and do 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. There is a huge market for EVs like this. And honestly, I think this is actually where EVs, at least in my opinion right now, with the charging capabilities that we have, this is the segment that I think really makes sense to make EVs for. So production model arrives in 2027. The ID Everyone is officially a concept, but as I said, most of what you see here you'll find in the production version in 2027. So the Everyone goes on sale 1 year after the 25,000 euros or $26,000 production take on the 2023, the best concept of 2023. The ID2 All concept. What a great design. I sort of wish Volkswagen would put that with an internal combustion engine as well, because the design is just spot on. That would be a great next generation Golf. The Everyone is sized between the Polo and the Up, as we talked about, which also got the chop not long ago. One of the secrets of the baby EV space efficiency is Volkswagen's new MEB front-wheel drive platform. A small electric motor in the nose generates 94 horsepower, and while Volkswagen doesn't quote a 0 to 60 time, it's probably rather quick. I don't think this is a very heavy car, but 0 to 60 times, if you're buying a car like this, you don't really care about 0 to 60 times. That is not what this is all about. It's got to be less, the battery size got to be less than 40 kilowatt hour, going by the claimed 155 mile range. That doesn't sound like much, but it's probably ample for most buyers given the Everyone city living remit, and is a key reason Volkswagen is able to bring down the price to a little more than half that of the cheapest ID3. Great idea again by Volkswagen. Looking at this design, it just looks so classy. I love these fenders over both wheel. It just looks fantastic, this little car. Well done, Volkswagen, with this design. We're going to talk more about this in a minute. So the front drive will usher in a new, more robust, more confident design language that makes even the most affordable member of the EV family look solid and expensive. Definitely looks way more expensive than $20,000 in my opinion. Volkswagen points out the straight window line, an early Golf design signature, and a refusal to get bogged down in current styling trends that could appear embarrassingly dated a few years down the road. And I think this design will definitely hold up. It has a very stylish and sort of timeless looking design. You have the black glass rear hatch, tips the hat to the Up. The Everyone looks wide and muscular. The swollen fenders over 19-inch wheels. 19-inch wheels back in the day, like 15 years ago, you only saw that on very high-performance cars, and now we have 19-inch wheels as standard, I guess. Maybe not standard, but as an option for this small little package. Looking great, and then you have the chiseled skateboard-shaped recess in the rear bumper, making the whole car seem more grown up. You have a simple, long, flat dashboard shape in the interior, creates an impression of width, and it's interesting to see that after several years of freestanding mini tablets, this is also a great design feature. packs on the EV. Volkswagen has now recessed the gauge cluster within the main dash, so it actually has a housing for it. And isn't that what I've been asking for the last 3 or 4 years? So it's great to see that. You have a chunky, squaresicle shaped steering wheel, features plenty of physical buttons, and there are more buttons on the central section of the dashboard for volume, cabin temperature, and seat heating. I mean, this is it just gets better and better. And Volkswagen actually said in an official statement that they've made a huge mistake going away from physical buttons, and they're actually going to bring that back in future models for Volkswagen. Great to hear that. Most of the controls, though, are still housed within the large touchscreen in the middle. Other new features include a utility rail on the passenger side of the dashboard that lets passengers attach a tablet or even a table. You have a console between the two seats, can be slid backwards and forwards, and has extendable shelves. Very interesting interior design. The designers had a lot of fun designing this thing. We're still 2 years away from being able to buy this, though. It goes in production in 2027. Now look at these sketches here. Volkswagen and Volvo and Ford has the best design sketches right now, because you can see how much fun they had designing these cars here. Beautiful looking sketches, very chunky, beefy looking design. These are probably some early sketches, but I do think all of these sketches have probably been sketched up after the fact that he went into concept shape just for promotional purposes. And you can see the interior sketches here. Just funky looking sketches, very refreshing to see these type of designs. Now, one thing I've loved doing ever since I was a kid is sketching. Over the years, I've taught thousands of students the art of design sketching using simple tools such as just a big pen, some print paper, and maybe a few markers. And now, I've bundled all my classes into one mega bundle of sketching madness called Analog Designer Pro Pack, and you can get instant access to all 11 hours of content for just $47. Inside, I'll teach you everything you need to know about design sketching, whether it be sketching cars or products, and I'll introduce you to my personal favorite sketching technique called cloud sketching that you won't find anywhere else. And this simplifies perspective sketching and how to get the proportions right, which is crucial when you're sketching cars or products. I'll take you from complete beginner to more advanced rendering techniques, and you don't need any special or expensive art supplies for this. See what my students have to say about this course and how it's helped them, and check it out yourself at analogdesignerpropack.com, linked down below. Let's jump into Photoshop. Let's check out, let me show you what I love about this design. I already basically talked about it, but looking at the front end design, we have this mask, this Batman mask in the front end, looking very, very cool. You can see that it has clear graphics. Even though this is a very simplistic design, it still has a clear identity to it. I love that we have a separation between the top half graphics, the lower half graphics. We have some key LED, probably fog lights or daytime run lights right there. You have a small little mouth down here for the cooling of the tiny battery that we have in this vehicle. The headlights looks great as well. I hope we see something like this in production version. We have this 3D effect. Feels like it's going right into the body of the vehicle here. But you can see there's not a lot of styling, too much lines going on here. The key, what Volkswagen has done great with this car are the proportions and the key graphics. That is all you need to create a beautiful looking design, and that is exactly what we see here. Now in the side view, love this line in the lower section because this creates a very sporty design, and it also is a chamfer, as you can see. Want to see more chamfers like this in designs today. It just looks beautiful. Love that this is also body colored all the way down, creating more sportiness in this design. But the thing I love the most here is going to be two things. We have the shoulder line being one straight line from the front end, the hood, into the window, and that is what we talked about. Then we have this sort of visor design for Volkswagen with the A-pillar being blacked out. We have a very simple design for the greenhouse itself. Slightly sloping roofline here going into this spoiler. Beautiful wheel arches. You see how everything here is so smooth and rounded, but when it comes to the stance and the wheel arches, designers decided to add these beautiful lines here, sharp lines, to clearly define the the wheel arches and the plantedness of this vehicle. The 19-inch wheels here, I hope these goes into production as well, because I think they fill out the wheelhouses perfectly and they look very, very nice on this design. Now, looking at the rear end, this is blacked out here, which is very cool because it creates a feeling that the window is huge. I'm not sure if this entire section is the entire window, and this is probably something that they might change for the production version. This is a detail that I can sort of see them changing for the production version, because having this curvature here in the glass probably going to be too expensive for a $20,000 vehicle. But I do love the chamfer that we have up top with the brake light here as well. You have two funnels, or sort of a funnel in the middle of the roof, looking very, very cool. And again, the separation here with the key graphics of the top half, the lower section. I feel like we're starting to get the definition of bumpers coming back in car design, and that is something that I want to see. You also have this carved out portion in the lower section, similar to what we had in the side view. Now, last but not least, this interior here. I do think this interior looks great. As I said, what I wanted to see is not just a slap a tablet here for the gauge cluster. What I wanted to see is exactly what we see here. Two lines like this, and you have the gauge cluster sitting inside of that. That is so kind of a housing for the gauge cluster, in my opinion. And it's great to see that we also have the physical buttons coming back here. In addition to physical buttons for the climate settings, you also have those settings down here, as you can see in the lower section of the infotainment screen, looking beautiful. This integration of the infotainment screen itself doesn't look like the best, but honestly, when you have this type of simplistic design, both in the exterior and all around the key graphics, this type of interior in this specific car, I do think this very simple interior really suits this car overall, because it is supposed to be a cheap, simple design, and I do think that is going to be a sweet spot for future EVs of all brands, to create EVs in this price range with this type of power and range. Nothing crazy, just a car to bring you from point A to point B. And I'm really looking forward to this and the ID2 all production version and see what that is going to look like. So very cool future for a Volkswagen, and this is one of the best looking EVs in my opinion, specifically small hatchback EVs that we'll see go on sale in 2027.